Three.
Uno.
Paulie here on the Latino Slant. What's happening, everybody? Hope everyone is doing muy bien. Wow. I'm so excited for this video because we're not only going to talk about The Last of Us, right? Episodes 6, but more 7. But we're also going to talk about the homophobia, the fear behind this show that's been like a disease growing and growing. What's going on, people? What's going on? We're going to talk about that. Then we're going to give our takes on the episode, give some spoilers. We're going to start with non-spoilers, but I wanted to bring in just one of the coolest dudes I know. I'm getting to hang out with him more and more in person now. You know him as Verbal Riot. I know him as Dante. Hello, sir.
Paulie, mi amigo, how are you, man?
Hey, how's your Spanish? Muy bien.
Well, you know what's funny is that I was actually married to a Latin woman for 10 years, and she never taught me a lick. 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
So
we have other stories. We have
I can
other
count to
stories
10,
to share.
and I can ask for the bathroom. That's about where my Spanish is.
¿Dónde está el baño?
Yep. The important stuff.
It's always important. Okay, The Last of Us. You've been watching it. You've been enjoying it. We just have the 7th episode drop. There's only 2 more left in season 1.
2 more.
Give us your first impressions of the latest episode, if you will. You're gonna go big here.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, man. We've talked before, and I'm a normie to this show, right? I'm coming into this show where I literally have only played the first 10 minutes of the game. I never really got that deep into it, so I would never say that I'm a fan of the game or that I know the game, right? But just from what I've seen as a show, I've been loving what I've seen so far. And this last episode for me, to be honest with you, I thought I was not going to like this episode, just purely because it seemed like filler. It seemed like, oh, here we go, right? We're taking away from the main storyline and we're going to do this filler episode. So I wasn't excited about it at all. But after watching it and just accepting it for what it is, it was it was a good episode, man. Yeah, of course it was predictable. We all knew what was going to happen, but I still like the process of getting to that point. And yeah, I dug it, man.
You know, that's the thing is, as far as knowing, we all know how the Titanic sinks. We all know what happens. But it's that thrilling journey. How can they grab us? What's going on? That makes it, worth watching. And for me, I honestly, with episode 6, which was called Kin, I was a little disappointed because of the kind of the built up to find Tommy, and it kind of just happened, and it became something other than, which was okay.
Right.
I still liked it. It was still a decent episode, but brother, this episode, oh my God. I mean, when you trust basically 2 actors for a whole entire episode, you have magic, you have talented actors, and you have really great writing. And I would say those are really the standouts, is these 2 actors and the writing.
Yeah, and I think we got a really cool insight into Ellie, right? I think she's been very vague around Joe, and she hints around things, but we don't really know what she's talking about. And I think this episode kind of gave us a little bit of an insight into who she is, and her being trained by Fedra and having some experience, when it comes to combat, and and not just the relationship with her friend, but I think just how she plays with others, right? Like, she doesn't play well with other people. And I think we got a lot of insight into Ellie in this episode. And I think for me, that's why it didn't feel like a filler, because we got to know this character a lot better.
Sure. Well, yeah. here are the two characters, the two actors we're talking about. Of course, Bella Ramsey and Storm Reed. So what we knew going into this episode, if we were paying attention, right, was that it wasn't the first time that she had to kill someone. And we're you know what, let me let me put this banner up, guys, because we're gonna start spoiling it away right now. All right. Yeah, so this, just fair warning. Um so what we knew, because, and I'm just saying this too, because hopefully you've seen the first episodes, the first couple episodes, in fact, where she tells Pedro Pascal's character Joel, this isn't the first time that she has held a gun or killed somebody. So you're like, oh, what's
Right.
going on? Then she talks about going into a mall, and she's very, don't want to talk about it. Let's keep going. Both of them are like that. Don't want to talk about it. Don't talk.
Right.
So this was what she didn't want to talk about, and what we're getting in the storyline, I believe this happens right before the first time we see Ellie's character in episode 1, where she's being quarantined and looked over for 7 days to make sure she doesn't turn.
Right.
And this happens before that. I thought that was really cool, man. I love, I was surprised they went there. Most of this episode, guys, is in the past, is during this one night where Storm Reed's character comes back and says, hey, I have something special. I want to take you out. I want to show you something. And she basically sets up this. It's basically a date, guys. If you want to be honest, she sets
Yeah,
up a
it
really
is what
cool
it is.
date. It's really sweet, very endearing, and you realize, and she says that I've been recruited by Phaedra and I'm going to Atlanta, so this is my last night here. So that's what unfolds. Do you think I got most of that right?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely spot on the money. It was a date, a first and last date, really, because yeah, the character of Storm Reed was planning to leave and
Yeah.
go to another city, so that was really her and Ellie's kind of last chance to connect.
Yeah, and before we get to Storm Reed, so just as far as the storyline, in the present day, Joel's been seriously injured,
Yeah,
and to a point where he's like, get out of here, go back to Tommy. And you see her leave, and you're like, oh, what the? And then we go through this story of her and her. What's her friend's character's name? I lost the character's name. I'll
um,
get it. We'll get it in a second.
yeah, I forgot it too.
It doesn't matter. Storm Reed's character.
Yeah,
So, and we were even reacting to it. Well, like, she can't leave Joel on the floor like that, and of course she doesn't. But I'm talking like 90% of this episode is in the past, set during this one night. And then towards the end of the episode, which is a major cliffhanger, two things happen. She comes back to aid Joel, and then the big spoiler here, guys, is that during their date night, they get attacked, and they're both bitten. So we know what happens. Just like you said, Dante. We know what happens to
right.
both characters.
Yeah, and look, we knew as soon as it was a Ellie backstory, we knew that was going to be the story they were going to tell, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like, again, predictable, sure, but it wasn't about the destination; it was about the journey getting to that point, right? And we wanted to
Yeah.
see how they, acted with each other, how they, was it more than just a friendship or were they just friends? And I think they played it off very well. I mean, obviously they played it like two friends who don't know each other
Mm.
like each other that
Mm.
way. And so there was like flirting, but but still kept within a friendship realm. And I felt like
Yeah.
that part was handled very well.
Yeah. I mean, there was everything. There was everything, right? That best friends have. They argue, they laugh, they cry,
Yeah.
they're vulnerable, they're stupid with each other. I mean, they played Mortal Kombat.
Right.
So
Right.
that was probably like her favorite, thing that she did for her was that she took her to an arcade and her Ellie's mouth just dropped.
To be honest, it was kind of cool. Like, and I know they still exist, but it's funny because I haven't been to an actual mall in probably like
Mm,
I don't know, man, like 4 or 5 years. So it was
sure.
kind of cool to see like an old school mall and an
Yeah.
arcade in the mall, and that kind of thing. So I
And
felt like
then
the set designs were very nice.
oh man, they're on point. Everything about this, I mean, the production is on point.
Yeah.
Speaking of, when they finally do show one of the clickers, that was scary, man. These guys are really holding back on the clickers, and I think that's great.
And I love the fact that the clicker was in an American Doll store.
I didn't notice
Right?
that.
Like, of all the stores to be in, he was, like, in the store with the creepy dolls, you know?
Right, right. Well, so yeah, that's really our take on this episode. As a whole, this is an incredible series that I've been enjoying, Dante. I don't know about you. As a whole, how are you feeling about this series, this season one?
It's like I said, man, I'm coming into this as a normie, and for me,
Mhm.
I have enjoyed every single episode of this season, so far. I think,
Mm.
I think okay, let's just start with the shots, man. I mean, I don't know where they shot this, like what location, but just in, just gorgeous, man. Gorgeous cinematography, incredible sets. I feel like people love to try to compare the show to The Walking Dead, and I get it. Zombies and
Mm.
infected, kind of similar, and I get
Sure.
it. But I just feel like the way they shot this season has been just so gorgeous, and I dug everything about that. I think the actors they've been killing it in every episode. They're killing it. Um, it's been heartbreaking. I think, man, we talked about Sam and his brother in episode 5, and just that whole scene, and you know
Mm.
it, I feel like so far I've not been disappointed, even a little bit, with this show.
Obviously, I'm with you. But now we're getting to the elephant in the room here. Right,
Oh yeah,
and that is, homophobia against The Last of Us, and we, had, promoted in the thumbnail and in the title. We're not gonna let you guys down because we do wanna talk about this.
yeah.
I want Dante to kick off the discussion, because
Well,
you're
look,
saying
man.
you were checking, you were seeing some stuff going on.
Yeah, and look, I mean, obviously, we're both, on Twitter, quite a bit, and we see things, and I understand it. Okay, let me just put that out there. Like, I get, for a long time, or a while now anyway, Hollywood has been really kind of pushing, a lot of LGBT content, right? Which is fine if it's done on its own and not taking characters that we know, and then that are established characters, and then for no reason really, uh swapping them, right? So I get why people are apprehensive when it comes to this stuff. I get why they're a little bit, uh they don't trust these studios, because this kind of stuff has happened already. I think my issue is they're not taking characters from the game that weren't already gay and turning them gay. You see, turning them gay, quote unquote. You see what I'm saying? Like, these characters were gay in the source material, right? So it makes sense that they would be gay in the show. This isn't a bait and switch. This is they were gay in the original, and they're gay here. So, like, I don't see the problem with that. I understand, episode 3, that they gave Bill and Frank more of a story. I get that. And I honestly, but again, I'm coming in as a normie. I had
Uh-huh,
no problem
mhm.
with that. episode, I felt like, uh, I don't know much about Bill, but here's the thing: if I play the game eventually,
Hmm.
and then I come to the point where I meet Bill, now I have this whole backstory in my head from the show, and
Mm.
I'm not angry about that. Like I think that's in a way kind of cool that now I kind of have a backstory to when I actually meet Bill in the game. But I get it. If you're a fan of the game, that they took a few, you know, um, uh,
Well, they embellished on what they already had, which
yeah,
which was, and they had to because it's for television.
it's for television. You can't stick
Mhm.
completely, and that's with any source material, man. And I know it hurts to
Ooh.
even say that as a comic book fan, but I get why
Mhm.
certain creative decisions are made to change it up a bit because what worked in the comic probably wouldn't work in the movie or
Mm.
the show. You know what I mean? So they're taking these characters, and the guys who made the game are lockstep with Warner Brothers and HBO, and it's their final approval. So I feel like it's their game, and and if they are making changes, then they're probably making the right changes for the show.
Well, I mean, this is a hell of a show, and I think there's so many characters going on and the relationships that one of the arguments is that, well, now it's more than one gay storyline, and it's a gay agenda. I think that's a little too much, And if that bothers you that much, yeah, don't watch it. Are you homophobic? Eh, I
I,
just,
and I think especially in this
I
situation, that's a great
mhm,
question to ask because
mm,
if the source material, if they're gay in the source material, and you're still mad that that transferred over into the film, right,
right,
or the television show, then you
right.
might be homophobic. You get what I'm saying?
Well, I think true homophobic, right, is you have a certain belief against homosexual relationships, etc., and even to the extreme, you want to cause violence, which is absolutely uncalled for. But if you were like, just, hey, this isn't for me, I'm a straight guy, or a straight person, whatever. I don't think that's I think that's actually a very natural reaction. And I told you this. It's like my line of is on media. I don't want to see gratuitous gay sex. That's me.
Right, and I'm the same way. It's not something I choose to watch. If it's in a movie, if there's a scene, it's in the scene. It's nothing I could do, right? But for the most part, if I'm not going to go into it knowing this and be like, okay, this is something I want to watch, right? And that's just me. It's not something. Again, it
Well,
has nothing to do with being homophobic or anything. It's just something that doesn't really do anything for me. You know?
yeah. Again, you said these characters, the source material is that they're gay already.
Yeah,
That's very important. So this is what's coming at you, and going back to the TV show, it's just so well written, and the actors are killing it.
yeah.
Every actor's killing it. Well, there's a couple I could do without. I didn't like the lady who took over the revolution.
Oh, Apocalypse Karen.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't resonate. She did not resonate with me at all. And you know what? Every time I think like this, I'll check in with Romy, who's like like the real actor,
Yeah.
and, like, and she's like, yeah, nah, wasn't feeling her. Uh, you guys should have had Romy in that character. Woof, she would have killed it. That's another story. She really would. So yeah, like, or even some of these sequitur lines about communism, or just silliness, they didn't ruin the episode for me. Maybe the scene, but definitely didn't ruin the episode for me. But yeah, that's probably, I think we covered, as far as, is there anything else you wanted to add, or any other point you wanted to make in regards to homophobia with The Last of Us?
I mean, not really a point. I just think that sometimes, we're we're very quick to label something. You know what I mean? And and I get it. We've been fooled. We've been baited. We've
Mhm.
been, Hollywood for the most part, haven't treated fans of source material very well. Like
Mhm.
they've kind of even gone out of their way to kind of quote unquote stick it to the fans in some cases. And I understand apprehension when it comes to some of this stuff. You know what I mean? I think sometimes you have to really kind of step back and say, well, is this a gay show, or is this a show that has like, you know, a gay scene or a gay you know what I mean? It's like there's a difference between a gay show, and then a show that just happens to have gay material in it. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, I think we'll end it with the added controversy of the director, one of the directors stating that he sometimes had to sometimes you have to, and this is his quote. This is his quote, and part of an answer he was answering the question is how he approached directing the actors, the two gay characters throughout the episode. Okay. And I'll have the link to this story in the video box description, and also to make sure you are subscribed to Verbal Riot. Horst stated sometimes you have to sort of trick the rest of the world into watching these things before they're like, oh my God, it was two guys. I just realized. I think that they might understand that it's all real. It's just the same love. Dante, final thought on that.
My final thought is, look, this is storytelling, and sometimes you want to get a message across in that storytelling, right? And that's for many writers. Many writers want to get a message across in their writing, and so they create a story around it, right? And that's as old as time. That goes back to fables. So
Yeah.
so I don't have a problem with that so much. I think the problem is because of the time we're living in right now, to use those kind of buzzwords like tricked the audience, it's a bad call. It's a very bad call.
It's a bad call.
There's a better way he could have said that.
Or you just let the work speak for itself, which is what we always talk about.
Yeah.
And I think any of these actors that speak on homophobia or people being like this, you have no control over how people are going to react and think and all that stuff. Just let the work be out there. There's always going to be haters. Then there's going to be a lot of people that love it, and move on. Dante, I want to thank you so much. I know we could keep talking about this, which is great. Maybe we'll get some great comments from all you guys in the comment section of this video. Also to Dante, let them know what's going on your channel, please.
Yeah, guys. I again, I want to thank everyone who helped me to hit 1,000 last week.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, you guys are amazing. Right now I'm actually working. Not working. I have a video coming out very soon, probably tomorrow, on Cocaine Bear.
Nice.
And I also have some video game stuff finally coming up, because I've been kind of just itching to talk about some things happening in gaming right now. PlayStation just had their big announcement on last Thursday, I believe, and I have a lot to say about that. So there's some pretty cool things coming up this week for the Riot.
Well, there you have it, guys. Make sure you are subscribed to Dante at Verbal Riot. Link is in the video box description. We'll see you soon. Make sure you comment wherever you're at. Keep that slant fuerte.